everyone, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another work week reading vlog. This week I am, not gonna lie to you guys, very inspired to do a lot of reading. I don't know, there's always like the beginning of a new month just really kickstarts me, and I'm trying to read a bunch this month. I'm participating in 2 readathons, a buddy read, I don't know, I'm just trying to read it all. So I'm hopeful that this week I'm actually able to read 2 books, or mostly 2 books. So, I don't know, I'm excited to film for you guys. Before I show off my TBR for this weekend, I first want to chat through this video's sponsor, which is Back Market. So let me just sit down and we can chat through it. Well, as I mentioned, this video is sponsored by Back Market, which if you guys are not familiar, they're an awesome online refurbished technology seller. They have thousands of different types of electronics from any type of vertical or need you may have. And I'm personally a big fan of them because they're essentially trying to change the refurbished technology game, essentially prioritize the buying of refurbished technology, because their goal is to actually cut down on e-waste, which if you're not familiar is essentially with new technology constantly being produced and bought, there's a lot of waste that is inherently produced with just technology in and itself. So their goal is to cut that down and provide really high quality and more affordable technology through their site, which I think is amazing. I have personally gotten a new piece of technology myself, and it's this amazing new pair of noise canceling headphones. These are the Sony WH-1000 XM3s, and they are actually a life changer. For me, I live in a small New York City apartment. Clay and I are both working from home in our small space every day. He's working literally right now as I'm filming this clip. And for me personally, I have been having a hard time getting distracted, and so I've been really looking for a comfortable pair of noise canceling headphones I could wear. I can't even hear myself right now while I'm doing my work. I do a lot of data and analysis, and I'm in Excel a lot, and I really sometimes just need to like keep my head down and focus, otherwise things take me so much longer than they need to be. And these have honestly been such a huge game changer. They're Bluetooth, they're wireless, they, as I said, are noise canceling. They also have atmospheric pressure optimization, which just sounds so cool if I'm being frank. But yeah, these are also gonna be amazing once I start kind of going out into the world again for travel, for commuting. But for now, editing at home and doing my actual day-to-day 9-to-5 office job has been so amazingly upgraded with these. I've been able to focus so much better, and they're so dang comfortable, and the music quality is also top notch. So when I just like want to jam, that's also a great option. I of course actually have a discount code for you guys, as well as more information and a link to the site below. If you're interested in checking out and doing some shopping, check out that discount code. As I said, I really love that this company is focusing on cutting down on e-waste and providing really high quality electronics at more affordable prices. If you guys are interested in learning more, I'll have all their information down below, as well as an exclusive offer code for you guys. So yeah, definitely check them out if you're in the market for some new electronics, save a little bit of money, help the environment a bit. It's great. But now let's cut to my TBR for the video. Hello, Matilda. So the 2 books that I hope to read this work week over the next 4 days is first, I'm reading Grave Peril by Jim Butcher, which is book 3 to the Harry Dresden series. And then from there, I really want to pick up The Poppy War. This is a book I've been meaning to read since it's come out. And for some reason, it's just always kind of fallen off my TBR for whatever, you know, one reason or another. But now it just feels like I need to read this. I'm so excited. Everyone seemingly loves this book, and I have a feeling I'm gonna love it too. So this is also on my TBR for the week. My mid-morning cup of coffee. I'm also gonna heat up one of these muffins I made yesterday, perpetually making banana muffins. I'm gonna leave the recipe for these down below. It's the same one, I always make them. I usually just throw like new things in them. So these are chocolate chips, and then these have blackberries in them. Literally delicious. I couldn't live without these muffins, but yeah. It's muffin and coffee time, people. And then I need to go to work. Another day, another unhealthy salad. Today, it's Caesar with no protein, nothing else besides cheese and Caesar dressing. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. I'm actually making myself a latte because it sounded really good, and I haven't had a latte in a long while. And I thought, you know, let's treat myself. I'm actually about to sit down and read my book. Sorry, my Nespresso's yelling at me. But I'm actually about to sit down and do a bit of reading. So, as I was saying, I'm making a latte right now, and I'm about to sit down and do some reading. I just finished up work. It's a little past 6 p.m. I'm making dinner tonight. I'm trying to make like a rip-off bolognese sauce with mostly vegetables. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited to read my book. I'm gonna sit down and I'll give you guys more details, but right now I just wanted to say I'm making a 6 p.m. coffee. So hopefully that breeds lots of reading productivity. Hi friends, I'm sitting down with my latte and it just started raining all of a sudden, which honestly, great reading ambiance. And I'm about to pick up my book, which is Grave Peril by, not Harry Dresden, by Jim Butcher, which is book 3 to the Dresden Files. So I've already started this. So this total book is 378 pages and I've started it already. I've read about 50 pages. I read it like yesterday evening. So I have about like 280 ebook pages left. I'll back into what that actual page count is when I'm done. So the premise of this series, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know at this point, are it's essentially Harry Dresden is a wizard detective. He lives in Chicago and he's trying to fight crime and solve mysteries. And each book, at least from what I can deduce, kind of has a different central paranormal or fantastical element at its center. The first one was like demon summoning. The second one had to do with werewolves. This third one has to do with ghosts and kind of like summoning of ghosts or spirits, possibly necromancy. I'm not that far yet. And a lot of people say this third book is really where the series takes off. So I'm a little nervous because I have very high expectations going into this because of that. But I have been pleasantly surprised that there has been character growth between all of the books. It is not just like mystery of the week characters stay static, which I'm happy to see. And I don't know, I'm overall looking forward to see how this series continues to grow. And honestly, one of the reasons why I love this series is, yes, they're not my favorite books on the planet, but I find them so easy and fast to read. There's something about them that when I pick them up, it feels like homey. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same way with the book series that you just kind of go back to for some reason or another, because it's just like enjoyable to read. Like, these are good books. They're not blowing my mind, but I love the experience of reading them for some reason. I don't know. So anyway, I'm gonna read this now. I'm just gonna kind of see what kind of ghosts and ghouls Harry Dresden has to defeat. And yeah, so I'm gonna get started and drink my latte, and then I'm gonna start dinner. It's pouring rain outside, which again, kind of into. Convinced Millie to hang out with me. You know, fuzzy blanket, the bribery in full effect. My hair is wild, but that's besides the point. I am actually about to start making dinner, but I've read 50 ebook pages of this book so far. And I was definitely right with the assumption that this is definitely about kind of like ghosts, but I would say it kind of spans the realm of the undead so far, in that we have some vampire characters. I'm not totally sure how that's fitting in, and then definitely things coming back from the dead and like trying to enact vengeance. It's definitely more mysterious than perhaps some of the other ones in this series I have read, in that the other books kind of started with a murder and it was kind of obvious who or what has been involved, and it's kind of like putting the pieces together. Versus this is like there's some sort of evil force. You don't really know who's involved. You don't even know the full pieces of like what kind of magical individual can be involved, and even the characters that play, which I think it's to its benefit. I think it makes it more thrillery than the last ones, which was definitely more like classic cop drama, but it's magical kind of thing. The other thing I appreciate about this book, I feel like in all of the novels, Jim Butcher takes a lot of time and care putting a lot of background information for any of the magical creatures that are present. But two, like, yes, just because this is like an urban fantasy detective story, he does a lot of world building even still, which I appreciate. There's a section I read about how Harry Dresden describes how magic works in this world, and I thought it was particularly very interesting. I love learning about magic. It's definitely one of my favorite things about fantasy. But kind of hearing Jim Butcher lay out how in Harry Dresden's universe how magic works, and that it's more methodical, it takes a lot more planning, it's more ritualistic, it has a lot of like study and preparation versus just like saying spells, I think one, makes sense and is true to the books so far that I've read, and two, I just think it was interesting to see. And you know, obviously will be important when we're thinking about how Harry Dresden has to prepare going into things. Like, there's a lot more magically prepared objects that help propel Harry's magic. It's not just like knowing the right words and being able to like shoot fire, though sometimes that does happen. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting as well, and it was cool to have more context to the magic that we've seen already and will continue to see throughout this series. So far I'm liking it a lot. I'm flying through it really quickly. I also just feel like in general I read ebooks faster than regular books, and I'm kind of an ebook kick just because it's so easy to read. Obviously I love physical books, but I don't know, ebooks are just so easy, and like for my eyes, I could read in the dark. I don't know, I'm just kind of really into ebooks right now. But I am going to make dinner now. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna watch some, I think it's called Crazy Delicious on Netflix, which is a new cooking competition show, which is my jam. They make jam too, gotcha. But yeah, so I'm gonna start dinner. I'm gonna show you guys the process because I'm hopeful it's gonna be really good, but I really have no idea. I love this new show on Netflix, food competition. Carla's one of the judges, who I love from Top Chef and beyond, so I'm just excited to see her. I love it. It's magical and food oriented. There's Clay, he's working, but I'm actually gonna start dinner myself. Isn't that right, Millie? So my goal here is, like, I am using beef, but I'm gonna like shred up zucchini and cut mushrooms up really small to kind of, and use an onion, and to replicate extra meat like a bolognese normally has, I think. Or maybe that's a ragu. Maybe I'm trying to make a ragu. I'm just making stuff up. I just really want to have like a hearty sauce, but it'd be mostly vegetables and beef instead of using like short rib and multiple things. I don't know, I'm just rambling. You guys are like, this is just a pasta sauce, Reagan, calm down. Step one is I'm just gonna first soften some onions and brown the beef. So voila. Also, I treated myself instead of, I didn't feel like making homemade pasta sauce, so I bought the fancy Rao's homemade tomato sauce, the closest I'll ever get to actually be able to going and experience Rao's Italian food, so that should be good. Added the meat, and I also have finely chopped mushrooms, which I will smallly chopped mushrooms to put in there as well. And last step pre-sauce, I shredded a bunch of, well, I shredded a whole zucchini to sneak more vegetables in here. I wish I had a like a bigger box grater for this, but I used a zester, lols. Added the sauce. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. I really want to emphasize that yes, there's meat, but not very much, and I feel like this just looks like a really hearty tomato, like dense sauce, which was what I was going for, and it's mostly vegetables with a little bit of beef because I had beef that I wanted to use, so it didn't go bad. But yeah, this looks tasty, and the Rao's, I mean, I know it's gonna be good, so that saved me a lot of time. Hi, it's me. I'm wearing my floral shower cap because I'm doing a hair mask. I'm so emotionally fraught right now because Clay and I watched an episode with Naruto, and Clay only has time to watch one episode of Naruto tonight because he has to work late. And it was emotional. For all you Naruto fans out there, it was 364. A lot of stuff happened in 364. And I'm not okay. Oh my god, I immediately messaged Starla. I was just like, exclamation marks. How do I proceed? How I'm gonna proceed is apparently do a hair mask and read more Grave Peril, because oh my god. Anyway, I look in, this is a whole look. I'm gonna go. Back with a new look, you know. And if there's a slight green tint to my skin, it's because I'm wearing a face mask. But so far, I read another 60 pages. This is definitely an undead type of book. I would say different than the first ones, which I feel like have a lot more like information sessions. This is a lot more character focused. We have kind of a sidekick, no, I wouldn't call him a sidekick, but like a companion with Harry Dresden, Michael, who, I don't know, just kind of fleshes out the world a bit more. He's a family man, he's like a knightly, he's like a godly knight kind of character, and he has a family, and their interactions are really interesting. And also that means like the stakes for Harry are different because he has someone else to look after. And obviously Michael has his own priorities and things. So that's kind of part of this book, which I feel like adds a lot more character dimension. And overall there's just like more elements of Harry's past coming up in this story as well, which I think are interesting. So it adds a lot more context and backstory, not just like, because sometimes I feel like the first two books again were very focused on like specific events and it didn't really flesh out the world, which I feel like perhaps we're getting a bit more world building here, which I think is great. There was a really awkward scene, IMO, with Harry Dresden's godmother. I cannot tell if she's like, has got like a matronly figure, or like she's trying to seduce him, and then like the way she was described, it was this like a very weird moment for me. So, you know, skipping over that part for now. Anyone else know what I'm talking about? Let me know. But there was just a really intense scene in this graveyard I just read. I also feel like there's this element of nightmares coming to life, which obviously nightmares are literally plaguing people in this book, but it could also kind of have an element of like things people are hiding from or running from. I think this is an interesting conversation I'm talking about wearing bunny ears. The point is, I like that element too. I feel like it adds, again, just like more character dynamics and just more complicated backstory, which I can appreciate. And I'm liking it and I'm flying through it. I'm about 50% done with this book. And I read over 100 ebook pages so far tonight, and I'm gonna read more, so I think that's a great sign. And yeah, just wanted to check in and give you guys an update. Poor Matilda.
Poor Matilda.
Matilda lives the life, actually. She's like, yes, peasants, thank you. See you here same time tomorrow. Hi friends, so it's definitely getting late and I'm going to be going to bed soon, but I just wanted to say I've passed the 200 ebook page mark of this book, so I have 130 pages left. I'm gonna try to read 10 to 20 more pages tonight before going to bed, and then I'll have a little over 100 pages to read tomorrow. But I feel like I definitely can handle that. This book is definitely different than the first two and I am liking it. It's intense. And again, I already alluded to the backstory provided. I am curious to see how it's gonna wrap up and kind of see how this might play out in later books. I am really hoping this book grips me though, in that I feel like a lot of people have been saying this is the one where it starts to get really good. And I have been liking Harry Dresden and it's something that's really easy to read, but nothing has necessarily like blown me away yet. So I don't know, I'm hoping that I get there soon, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I'm gonna get to reading, go to bed, yada yada yada. So time for that. Good night. Hi everyone, good morning. Wanted to do a quick reading update. I wanted to do a reading update on Grave Peril because I feel like I encountered this a lot like close together last night and I want to touch on it again. I know I've in the past been pretty vocal about my main criticism with the Dresden Files series is that it has some like weird male gaze stuff, and it could be, you know, some people attribute it to his time, whatever, which I've definitely called out in the past, and it bothered me more in book one. I felt like it wasn't very present in book two, and I guess for some reason I thought we were like evolving past it going into book three. But I feel like we had back-to-back scenes, first with Harry's godmother, which was weird, and then we had this vampire party, which also was weird, and it just really distracts me and pulls me out of the story and kind of makes me like not like Harry, not like the world. Like it just is really disorienting to me, and I guess I'm kind of coming at a crossroads where I need to just decide, like, is this series worth continue reading? And I just don't know, because I enjoy the first couple books. They're not mind-boggling, and I've always said that, and I was like waiting and waiting because I feel like the rest of the series gets better. I still feel like I want to give it a few more books, which is shocking because that'll be like 5 books in a series. But I don't know, so many of you guys have said that, so I'm really just curious. Does it get better? Does it get less cringy? And like, when is it true, when's like the cutoff point? Like, when do you guys think, like, if you don't like X book, you're just, it's not gonna be worth the series? And don't say book 15 because that is too long down the line. I'm hoping like book 4 or book 5. But yeah, I just want to say that it's like, it's not that I'm disliking Grave Peril, but to me it's still not like a 4 or 5 star book. It's still like in the 3s. And then combining this with some of the issues I just mentioned just make it harder for me to like fully fall into, even though I love like the detective stuff and the magic stuff and the other things. It's like whiplash, I guess. So anyway, there's my morning ramble. Let me know. Let Matilda know too. She's curious. She wants to know as well. That being said, I'm excited to finish this book and start the Poppy War, because the Poppy War is a book I feel like I'm gonna love. So, anywho, I have to get to work now. Also, this tie-dye trend is just never gonna die. It's from Madewell. I literally feel like I am the PacSun girl I wanted to be in 2009. When I would try to get my mom to buy me those 2 pairs of skinny jeans. It was like 2 for $38 or something. It never worked, but this is the kind of vibe I feel like I'm putting off today. Anyone else remember the PacSun skinny jean deal? Anyone else? Hot Topic band tees? Just me? All right, gotta go to work. Hey, Millie. In the process of making ranch at 10 a.m., which is what I do. Ranch is also disgusting. Like, if you don't know what comprises ranch, I wouldn't even look it up, because it's really just fat. She's done. Now to cool down and to have only ranch salads for the rest of the week. I'm thrilled. I spend a lot of time looking at Matilda's face, obviously, and she's getting older. Her little gray whiskers have gone from her chin to her cheeks. You're still beautiful, Millie. Forever and always. Welcome to Reagan's Unhealthy Salad Emporium, where everything is covered in ranch. Hi friends, I finished work. Treating myself to a Reese's peanut butter cup, but it's just past 7. I'm gonna work a little bit later tonight, and now I'm gonna read. I won't lie, my anxieties is a little triggered today, but it's fine. Just gonna read through it, exist through it as one does. I do really want to watch some Crazy Delicious, which is that food show, and I think I want to restart my Pokemon game. So I'm going to try to do both of those things as well. But my goal and priority, of course, is to finish Grave Peril. And I am really curious to see how this book wraps up. I want to end on a positive note, which I feel like deviates to what I was feeling about this book this morning. I was like really annoyed at it last night when I was going to bed. I was like, how dare you make me not like this? So I'm hoping it gets itself together. Matilda's playing with her toy. And I'm going to finish it. And I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Hi friends, so I've read another 40 ebook pages. So I'm at 260 of 330. And I'm still of 2 minds about this book. I like the vampires, I like the ghosts, I like the combat, I like the magic, I like how Jim Butcher kind of sets things up. I think the dialogue can be a little cheesy, and obviously I've gone on about how Jim Butcher has portrayed women in this series, which bothers me, and it was especially bad in this particular, I guess, setting that I've just encountered. I'm reaching the part where it's definitely escalating, and it's pointing to kind of like a larger conspiracy, and some other very powerful magical creatures are in and around the area, which I think is cool. There's this dragon character, which definitely really intrigues me, so I don't know, I'm of 2 minds. But this one I feel like is the best and the worst that I've read so far in a lot of ways. I'm excited to finish it, but I'm very excited to start the Poppy War, because I feel like I'm going to love that book, and this book is good but driving me a little bonkers, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm really curious about your guys' opinions too, but anywhoosies, I don't have much left. I have about 76 ebook pages. I'm gonna try to finish it tonight, but I am gonna try to prioritize playing Pokemon too. So, you know, let the cards fall as they will. But I'm definitely gonna start the Poppy War tomorrow, which I am so excited about. But yeah, I'm liking this. It's escalating the story, and I really like the character Michael a lot. I really like his presence in this book. I just like him. Hey Clay. But Harry's kind of on my last nerves. But anywho, I'm going to make dinner now. I'm gonna reheat basically what I made last night for dinner and watch some Netflix and play Pokemon. Few positives. Hey Matilda. Started a load of laundry, getting my life together, but I came out here to start dinner, you know, making some fresh pasta, and a lily bloomed in my bouquet I bought earlier this week, so that's great. And Clay opened up this, which we got last week. And something about this is just the most charmingly adorable thing in the entire world. So it's this little sweet cheeseburger. Like the buns are cookies and there's like little sesame seeds and there's chocolate, which is the burger part. This just brought me so much joy to eat. I don't know, it's so fun. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys that. Taking a quick Naruto break and then I'm gonna go back to reading. But Clay finally had a second to watch some Naruto, so I've been dying for it. It's wild right now. Do you guys want to see something ridiculous? Oh my god, you're laying on your bone? Why? Also, three plush toys and a bone to sleep on in bed. Sorry, Millie, I'll cover you back up. Didn't mean to disturb. Why are you doing that? All right, I'm finally sitting down to read. It's happening. Alrighty, it's late and I am getting very sleepy. I've read to almost page 300 and I'm going to continue to read. But yeah, so I'm almost on page 300 and I'll probably stop there and go to bed. Finish it tomorrow, probably maybe at lunch. Sometimes I'm able to read and eat, which is nice. Like take a bit of a lunch, like a 30-minute lunch. But we'll see if I'm able to do that. But regardless, I'll be finishing it tomorrow. But yeah, I'm almost done with this book. I'm sleepy though, so I'm gonna try to get to page 300 and then I'm going to bed. Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday. I got fully dressed in a dress, and Matilda has all of her blankets, so she's also having a good morning so far. It is raining again. I swear, we've had the wildest weather in New York this past week. Hail, just pouring down rain. I've honestly kind of been loving it, but it's just non-stop rain. It's literally raining at a 45-degree angle. I don't even know if you can tell on camera, nor if you guys care. You really cannot see. Just believe me, it's raining hard, okay? Day 2 of my unhealthy salad emporium. I've upped the ante with chicken fingers and sharp cheddar cheese. It's gonna be delicious. I'm about to have a call and I didn't have time to check in, but I did read a bit at lunch today, which is exciting. So I have only about 30 ebook pages left, which I'm really jazzed about. So I'm definitely gonna try to finish that quickly today after work, and then I'm gonna jump immediately into the Poppy War, which is what I'm really excited about. And I don't know if I mentioned this last night, it's on script too, so I think I'm gonna read the ebook. Just read ebooks faster, so I'm just like really pumped about that. And I will give you guys a better update after I finish working, but I'm about to jump into a meeting. But I wanted to just say, hey, what's up? All right, pals, I've just finished up work. It's just a little before 8. It was just a long work day today, but not a big deal. I'm gonna cook dinner soon because I'm hungry because it's later in the evening, but I do want to get some reading in before, so grab my reader. So I said I have 30 ebook pages left, so I'm gonna try to just quickly hustle through that, and then I'm gonna start the Poppy War. Actually, I'm gonna go grab the Poppy War and I'll tell you a little bit about it. So as I've been saying how excited I am to read this book, the Poppy War is the first book to a fantasy trilogy, I want to say. I only read the first part of the synopsis because I really don't want to know much going in, but it follows our main character, who is a peasant, and she essentially takes and excels at this particular exam. This allows her to escape from guardians who wanted to use her for like financial gain and escape servitude and poverty, essentially. Given her test scores, our main character is admitted into a really elite military school, and upon arriving there though, unfortunately she is immediately singled out, and she is singled out by her classmates and treated really poorly for being a woman, from being from a poor peasant class, and also having a darker complexion than everyone else. But she's able to kind of discover and begin to harness a really powerful type of magic, and I think this makes her become a very successful soldier. So I'm just really interested to read this book. I've only heard incredible things about it. I feel like everyone I've talked to is like, read this book, read this book. The combat apparently is written amazingly. It's a very dark and gritty and realistic portrayal of military, which is something I tend to appreciate in fantasy. So I don't know, I'm really excited about this. I really feel like I'm gonna love it. And I know it's dark going in, which I think is important. But yeah, so I'm gonna pick that up tonight and definitely try to read as much as I can. But first I had to finish Grave Peril, so I'm gonna do that very quickly. I finished, and transparently, another weird scene. Anyway, okay, so I finished Grave Peril, and I'm just gonna say this was the best book from like a plot perspective and the worst book from like kind of the datedness of it all. And I don't know, it's kind of put me off from the rest of the series, I won't lie. I'm gonna give this like a 2.75 out of 5 stars, I think. I don't know, I think that's all I'm gonna say about it right now. But curious what you guys think on this one. I think I'm actually gonna start dinner and then I'm gonna start the Poppy War. I'm excited to start the Poppy War, but yeah, I'm done with Grave Peril, so that's that. All right, so I'm gonna start dinner now, get the taste of that book out of my mouth, and then start an amazing book, you know? How things go sometimes, I think. Tonight I am making some couscous, some roasted carrots, and like some Parmesan crusted chicken. I have all those things in my fridge, so I thought let's just put them all together. So I'm going to start that process now. Maybe watch an episode of Crazy Delicious, which if you haven't seen that show on Netflix, it's so comforting. I love cooking competition shows. It is by far and away my weakness. Any type of food show, honestly, food and travel, food competition. I love amateur to professional. And this has like a combination of Chopped with Great British Bake Off, I would say. It's charming, I love it. So I'm gonna watch some more of it. All right, my tray is set. Parmesan crusted chicken, paprika in that, and then salt and pepper and olive oil and some carrots. I'm just gonna roast this for like 20 minutes and I'm gonna make some couscous as well, like with some garlic and some butter. The thing about couscous cooking is absolutely mesmerizing. Bon appetit. Hi, so I've eaten dinner and it's now time for me to officially read. So I'm gonna start this book. As I said, I'm really excited. I have high hopes. So I'm gonna start now and I will check in a bit with a reading update after I read like 30 or 40 pages. All right guys, so I've read the first 30 pages of this book and I'm really liking it already. So we open with Rin, our main character, studying to take the exam that I mentioned earlier that she takes, and it basically allows her to study and she'll eventually get placed in this certain military school. I also, as I was reading, I was noticing that this was inspired by Chinese history, and I was curious about the specific influences, so I googled it and I wanted to say it out loud. So it's a grimdark fantasy that draws its plot on politics from mid-20th century China. First I saw this and there's discussions of opium wars. Obviously this is a fantasy novel, but it's definitely influenced from that. And then with the conflict of the novel based on the Second Sino-Japanese War and an atmosphere inspired by the Song Dynasty. So I'm not very far, but all of those influences are really interesting to know about, and something I just want to make sure I'm like noticing. I feel like this book so far has such a strong sense of place. And one benefit I feel like within this story as well is that a lot of the world building can be achieved through our main characters studying. Because right now where we are finding her in the first part of this book is that she's preparing and studying intensely to take this exam to avoid having to get married off when she turns 16. I'm curious too, because this is grimdark, and I don't think I've read a lot of grimdark fantasy. I'm kind of a wimp when it comes to dark stuff. So I'm kind of excited to venture into this space, because there's a couple other grimdark fantasy novels that I've like had my eye on but have been too nervous to pick up. So maybe this will influence me to read more grimdark. But so far I'm really liking it. I like the writing style a lot. It's really engaging, like immediately. And the setting is really cool, and the historical influences are very clear and also really intriguing. So I'm excited to keep reading, but I just wanted to pop in with an update. Hi. So I've officially passed the 50-page mark, and I can say that I'm really enjoying the writing style of this book. I find that it's just like really nice to read. I don't know, like the speed, it doesn't feel stilted, it doesn't feel, oh, it's not overly flowery, it's not overly full of metaphor. It's like just really direct and to the point, and it's just a writing style I personally really appreciate, especially in fantasy. The other thing I want to say that this is a grimdark adult fantasy novel. And grimdark fantasy is a subgenre of fantasy known for its amoral and violent environment, meaning it's dark, and it's not like dark, it's like really dark, and characters suck, and people suck, environments suck. That doesn't mean things can't be interesting, people can't be dynamic, and environments can't be like rich and full of history. And there are lights. Like, I've encountered a character, like, obviously I like our main character, and her teacher I also really liked, but he's also flawed. Like, he's a gambler, he's kind of addicted to opium. So in that, like, no one's like this perfectly heroic character. I would also say grimdark, this novel, has a plethora of trigger warnings. Self-harm I've already encountered, just like general like parental abuse, possibly like sexual assault, like lots of things that are either directly happening or alluded to. I would just be well aware that grimdark, and I'm assuming this novel is going to have a lot of those elements, so just know that going in. But so far I'm really liking it, and our main character has just gotten to the school, and I really love school settings in fantasy, even though this one I feel like is going to be very toxic and not so fun. Regardless, I'm excited to see her discover her magical powers and how this world continues to develop. I think there's going to be like a literal war, so that should also be interesting. But yeah, I've read 50 pages. I think that means I've read over 400 pages so far for the past 3 days, which I think is actually really good. I'm gonna read more obviously tonight, and I'll be reading a lot more tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you my initial thoughts, which are all very positive for the Poppy War, thank God, after Grave Peril. Good morning, everyone. I'm wearing my favorite overalls, so I really wanted to show them off. I got these like 2 months ago, and they're my favorite thing to wear. I wear them so much, and I was very inspired by a lot of the British bloggers I follow who wear like eyelet blouses underneath dungarees. So that's what I did today. Talking a lot about my outfit because I actually really like it. It's these overalls, man. They tie at the waist, and they're long, and they're not tight. It's like the perfect, I've been looking for overalls like this my whole life. Anyway, it's Thursday. I stayed up really late last night reading The Poppy War, which is chef's kiss very good. I'm gonna obviously read more tonight. So welcome to the last day of this vlog. I've decided that I want to have a bowl of strawberries and miso soup for lunch. Not together, but this then this. Sounded good, so we're going with it. Instant miso soup, success. Hello world, so I just finished up my day of work. Able to finish up a little early today, which is great. Clay also thinks he might be able to finish up early today, which is awesome. So I think we're gonna watch a lot of Naruto, order some takeout tonight, which we're both pumped for. We wanted to try this new restaurant down the street from us. Well, it's not super new, but they opened in like March, so newish. But while he's still finishing up work, I'm gonna go get my reading in of The Poppy War, which I obviously started last night. But before I sat down to read, I wanted to first talk about how many pages I've read so far. So first and foremost, I did the math, and I've read, I think it was like 340 pages of Grave Peril. That's how much I had left when I started the ebook. And then I've also read 60 pages of The Poppy War through last night before I went to bed. So that means I have read 400 pages, which I'm really, really pleased with. I personally strive for that during a work week. Sometimes I read more, sometimes I read less, so this was definitely a busier work week than I was expecting. So for me to be able to read 400 pages, I'm really jazzed about. I'm particularly excited to go read right now more of The Poppy War and try to read maybe like another 50 or to 100 pages before Clay's done working, and then I'll obviously try to read a bit more after we watch Naruto and stuff. But really liking The Poppy War so far. I'm also reading it quicker than I thought I would, like the pace at which I read pages. I find the writing style to just be something that I don't know how to, you know how sometimes you notice a book, you're like, wow, this is taking me really long to read, because sometimes the writing style can be beautiful, it can be great, but for whatever reason it doesn't flow in your head very quickly. I encounter that. I also have I have like dyslexia, so that can happen to me more with some writers than other writers, but for this book I feel like it flows really nicely in my head, and my brain just like registers everything I'm reading. I don't know if this is like an everyone thing or just like my particular brain kind of thing, but yeah, just wanted to say that too. I just feel like it's so, like my brain just like loves this book as well. Hi everyone, checking in with a reading update. Had some Cheetos, forgot to vlog that part. Also, do you like my maskne? Anyway, so I've passed the 100-page mark of the Poppy War. I can really say definitively that I'm really liking this book. It is dark, and I feel like I just want to say that every time I start talking about it, because it is, and it is a pure testament to Rin, our main character's perseverance and dedication, even if her dedication, and she talks about this, is like coming from like a really dark place. So obviously she's tested into this really prestigious military school. She's pretty much mistreated by everyone from students to teachers. She does have one friend whom is a light within the story, and their interactions I appreciate. But something I think is interesting, and I appreciate that the author has done, is that it is so clearly shown that history and strategy and understanding of military events is completely written by the victor. And this is explored in a lot of her classes, because she's kind of asking questions of how things are taught or understood from where she grew up, and they like mock her for it, because in the northern regions where the school is and like where the power is, that is not how they interpret those events, and they definitely make that known to her, and they think she is like backwards because of it. So this idea of like the powerful, this idea of like all the standards of language, beauty, power, history, everything is set by where the power exists, and that is definitely in this region in the north and where the school is, and that is definitely felt as a presence throughout this. Something too I would say, like, and Rin as a character too, as she's going through the school, she has a lot of desire to not just get into the school but also persevere at the school, because to fail means that she has to enter a marriage that she has no interest in entering. So this, no matter how much that they don't want her, this is still her only ticket for her own perceived freedom. So even though the teachers treat her terribly, and everyone has spent their whole life studying for all these classes, and she's so far behind and no one cares, in fact they view her as like this accident that arrived there, she still pushes herself to be as amazing as she can be. And it's not even written in like a positive light. Like the author describes it like she's an addict for praise and attention from her teachers, because it's the only thing that can keep her going, and her ruthlessness at her own studying to the detriment of her own health, mental health, physical health, is to succeed in this school. Really appreciate how the author's going about this, because I feel like oftentimes like burning yourself out and studying really hard to the success and prestige of your teachers acknowledging your existence in a lot of fantasy novels, or just even in reality, people don't, I guess like this is written in a dark way to show like this is a screwed up cycle that she's put herself in, and it's tragic to watch it, but you also recognize like why she's doing it. Like it's so frustrating that she has to be in a world where this is her one ticket, but dang it, she's gonna take it, and she's not gonna stop anyone from letting her grab it. Like she's gonna force them to recognize her, because her pure will get her there. But yeah, like I said, this book is super dark, but I'm again reading it really quickly. Right now it's really just school focused and learning focused, and we're kind of being introduced to a variety of characters at this school. There's one character which I think is really interesting, is part of this, who's like the most talented student on campus, and he's essentially from this area that was completely decimated in the last war. He's the last surviving individual from this land, and even in his grand talent, like the teachers will talk about the destruction and massacre of his people like nonchalantly, and also like talk down to them in a way. Anyway, it's a wild book, but I think it's really showing like, I guess like the perception of grandeur and a really of like the winner or the dominant individuals within a society. Like they're the richest, of course they're richer than everyone else because they're hoarding all the wealth, and like all the perceptions and everything. It's just I don't know. It's a really good book so far. I'm really liking it a lot. It's very dark, not YA. Please know all the trigger warnings. Consider that before picking this up, but I'm really liking it, and I'm going to continue to read. We ordered an aggressive amount of food, and we're about to watch Naruto. Millie is insulted we didn't get her anything. What's new? We are now watching The Last Dance, which is the Michael Jordan basketball documentary. It is amazing. Even if you don't care anything about basketball, I would still recommend this. Clay loves basketball. I like basketball, but this documentary is so well done. We are on episode 5. It's just incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. All right, so if you guys want to see something funny, Clay takes Millie out at night, obviously, because she needs to go to the bathroom. But she's normally really tired, and she's so dramatic getting her harness on every single night. She just refuses to move, and Clay has to like force her. Look at the drama. She was not even gonna roll over.
It is what it is. Come on.
Alrighty, everyone. I am back to reading. I actually don't know where my book is. So I'm gonna find that. But I'm gonna read more of The Poppy War. I think I'm like 120 pages in. I need to check, but I'm making really good progress, and I'm hoping to get to just under 200 pages tonight, which overall it means I'll read almost 600 pages over the past 4 days, which I'll be really pleased with. But excuse me while I go find my book. And I will check in with the reading update, but it's really good. It just really is so good. Hi pals, good news. Found my book. It was on my nightstand all along. I don't know how I missed it. I've also been sitting here reading. Rin has begun, or has been, right before I started and throughout this section of reading, starting her training with the Lore Master, which is very interesting, particularly because this character is very in sharp contrast to a lot of the other masters on campus. And I also feel like there's a bit of a time skip kind of happening, like we're kind of like cycling through her training. Part of this novel and part of what's going on is like she got admitted to the school, and then after the first year there's kind of a trial, and not everyone makes it to the next year, and different masters, which focus on like different specialties, pick students or bid to have students kind of join their specialty. So I'm really curious to see what this is going to play out to be. Another element I really enjoy a lot is I feel like this book talks about military strategy in a way that I don't feel like I've encountered so much, especially in an educational standpoint. I feel like I've read a million times about characters going to classrooms learning about strategy, and they read a long book and blah 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 blah. I've like in this novel there are literally logic conversations of possible scenario planning based on different situations that one might be in, and they're difficult situations, and our main character sometimes advocates for kind of like rock hard place scenarios, like not like the most moral option, but possibly the most winnable option. Anyway, the conversations themselves I think are really interesting from like a pure military strategy perspective, and I just appreciate and actually giving us insight into the classes that our character is taking. I feel like in a lot of fantasy like combat is really focused on, which is cool, and that's definitely present here too, but I just feel like we get a lot more view into the other disciplines that obviously are going to deeply impact all of these individuals who are training to be military generals. So I guess that's just an element I wanted to call out as something I am really enjoying, but I'm really liking this book, which I knew I would when I picked this up, but regardless, it's always really nice that it ends up to be true. And I feel like I'm going to quickly read the second one, and then the third one comes out this year, so I think it's just going to be a marathon scenario, but this is so good. Hi everyone, welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I just wanted to quickly pop in and just wrap up this vlog, chat through the things I was able to read, because I was actually able to read quite a bit. So I was, all in all, I read 530 something pages, which I think is really good for a work week for myself personally. I'm gonna start talking about the Poppy War, which I was able to get to page 200 last night before I went to bed. And I'm liking this book so much. I feel like a broken record, but it's just so good. The school setting, the training, the military, just the Chinese historical influence of this story, the grittiness, the reality of it. I don't know, it's just like, it's just really good and it's refreshing. I feel like I haven't read a book like this in a long while, and it reminds me how much I do like military focused fantasy. So hopefully I'll read more of those moving forward. And in general, I appreciate the range of characters we get in here. I like that Rin, our main character, is not perfect. And in fact, in a lot of ways, that makes me enjoy her as a main character more. Also, she has started training with the lore master, who is a very eccentric individual, and I feel like he provides elements of humor that I wasn't necessarily anticipating in this book, which I think helps kind of break up the story and when it can get a little intense. That being said, 200 pages in, so a little under halfway. I think things are about to truly escalate based off of some of the reviews I've read, so I'm excited to continue to read, and I feel like throughout this weekend I'm going to be reading this book a lot because it's so good, basically. To counter that, obviously earlier this week I read almost the entirety of Grave Peril, which is the third book in the Harry Dresden series. Did not love it. I just feel like the more I think about it too, like I felt the plot feels very recycled. Every book is kind of the same thing, but just with like a new element. Like this time it was vampires, which I don't necessarily mind given the format of the book, and I do hear it gets better and better and better and better. But I think for me personally, I'm gonna have to take a break with this series. I'm not saying I'll never read it again, but being inside Harry's head, especially in this book, was just a little much for me, and I didn't have like an amazing time. And I feel like there's so many books in this world I want to read that I'm just not going to force myself to continue reading this series. I don't think I'm going to give it up entirely though. I might revisit it later, but for now I'm gonna focus on some other stuff. They are really fast to read regardless, so they're always nice to kind of have in a back pocket for like a readathon or something, because I read them so fast. But anyway, didn't like this book. I gave it like 2 stars. So what a tale, what a vlog that showed a tale of 2 book experience. One I did not like and one I loved. So hopefully you guys get from this video that you should read the Poppy War. If you haven't already, I feel like one of the last people on the planet to read this book. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye.